One. Alright everybody, my name is VTech. We're talking about Delete or Decay as pertains to Impact Wrestling September 8th, 2016. By God, like, you really can't compare TNA to anything else right now. TNA is so much its own entity in the wrestling world. I I don't even know how to describe it because it has the perfect blend of wrestling and the perfect blend of
You can't.
story, and it has that unique aspect of what they're doing right now that no one else, in my opinion, can get away with. In terms of they're taking that giant risk, huh? Well, they're taking this giant risk and this giant leap on their product that's focusing on my two favorite things, which is the Hardy Boys and the Decay. And to put those two,
That's not just your two favorite thing. That's everybody's two favorite.
but to put those
things.
two together is crazy. So let's just roll throughout the show. Talk about the big things of the show, and then we'll get all Delete or Decay out. So big things is the Grand Championship was unveiled, and we got some matches going tonight. From what it seemed like,
They're contested in round
so
style.
they are in 3 rounds, 3 minutes. There is a judge score in case we need a winner, but I'm not too crazy on that judging thing. But yeah, there's that. It seems really unique. I was not for it at first. After seeing it, I hope it's
I feel like it's a shot at UFC.
I think it is too. I hope it's still scripted, because if it's a shoot, that could go bad.
I mean, it didn't help that the belt had the octagon shape on the plate.
So there's that. Galloway, and Aaron Rex. Their feud's been great. Aaron Rex flipping over chairs, kicking chairs, and then going the other direction. It's great. Lashley and Billy Corgan and EC3 had a press conference, and then it went and broke out and had a fight. That was great. Allie is crying because of the abuse of Maria and Sienna. Gail, Kim, and Jade kind of want to like take her underneath their wing, so there's that evident face turn for Allie, and hopefully get her more in the ring and all that nature. Mike Bennett is great. Moose is great. Their thing is doing great. What else am I missing? There's a pretty good match between Jesse and Eli Drake.
I think that's all.
Yeah.
That's about it.
But I want to talk about the big thing, because Delete or Decay is, it's kind of like with the final deletion. It was kind of like the final deletion. The whole show was good, but when you were really hyped for that one thing, you really wanted to see it.
You didn't care about the rest of the stuff as much.
I think unveiling the title tonight shouldn't have happened, but it's still good for the show, in my opinion. So there's that. Let's talk about some of the segments for Delete or Decay. Good God Almighty.
Okay.
So Broken Matt Hardy owns a giraffe called George Washington, and he's like,
yeah.
Brother George, I knew. Did he say Father George or Brother George?
No, Brother George.
Father George, I knew you'd come.
And then the giraffe took Rebby's hat, and he's like, George, you're such a jokester.
Yes,
Started laughing at him like they're
and
buddies.
Then we have some cameos by the Spot Monkeys, who are Mandrews, DJ Z, Matt and Nick, the Bucks of Youth. Some other X Division, flippy dippy people, Spot Monkeys. It's great. There was a lion scene there, just craziness, right? They didn't use that for the Deleter.
Genghis Khan, the
they
tiger.
didn't use that for Delete or Decay, surprisingly, but I thought they would have used a monkey or something, but
I figured that kangaroo would have gotten.
Oh yeah.
involved.
Jeff Hardy has a boxing match with a kangaroo. What the heck?
Yeah, and then Matt Hardy tries to fight him, and the kangaroo actually starts beating up Matt.
In 10 years, people are gonna think we're high making this video, straight up. Like, just
Yeah, people are gonna think that we're like, if I were to tell this story 10 years from now, without the video evidence of this actually happening, people are gonna think that I'm on drugs or I'm the greatest storyteller of all time.
Yeah, so let's get to Delete or Decay. It starts off with the Decay actually robbing a guy of his F-150 truck in North Carolina. Haha, stereotypes, am I right? So that happened because he was flirting with Rosemary, who was walking on the streets. That's creepy. And they beat him up. They take his pants, and they drive off with his F-150 in.
I hear Cameron is beautiful this time around.
So they appear out of the woods. They're like, "Hey, Senor Benjamin, what you doing?" He's like, "I'm preparing your grave." Greatest thing ever. All right, that man's a saint.
He didn't even flinch. He's just like, "I'm preparing your grave."
There's all these graves that say like all Decay on them, and they have Jeff Hardy's logo, the Hardy brand logo, and all that. So there is that. All of them come to a clash when the Roman candles start to hit all of them. Of course, there's some creepy stalkerish stuff going before that, but everything kind of hit a big climax when they started fighting with Roman candles. The dilapidated boat came in. Rosemary and Crazy Steve have to flee while Abyss is holding the boat off.
Gets drop kicked into the water,
and then it looks like Senor Benjamin is Snapchatting Broken Matt Hardy to prepare the boat, the dilapidated boat, but in reality he was picking it up, and then Joseph Parks, alright, I'm not making this up, you guys would think I'm like completely on drugs right now, alright?
Joseph
Parks, the return of Joseph Parks occurred. A cameo. It was a return, I guess, yeah. It's not gonna stay like that, clearly, but it was just so good to see that Abyss would go back to Joseph Parks for this and be like, "Oh, have you seen my brother Chris?" And then, Chris Abyss, and then freaking he'd fight Senor Benjamin, who would then tase him, and then put him on a construction vehicle and just pick him up and move him over to a grave and drop him in the grave. And it's like, holy crap, that's great. Rosemary, awkwardly enough, fought Matt Hardy a lot for some reason.
Yeah, and what was the creepiest?
There wasn't a lot of Rebby Sky action, sadly.
Well, they sent Rebby off. Like, that's probably honestly because Rebby probably can't.
To see Senor Benjamin,
Rebby can wrestle. It's just
to see Senor Benjamin get this much time in that was great. Jeff Hardy and his pool fight with Crazy Steve was amazing. All their face paint going down, them choking each other out, and then Crazy Steve miraculously being able to put all of his face paint back on after that is great. King Maxwell can be ticked off by like all of his floaties being thrown around. There's that. Matt Hardy miraculously was able to absorb the spit of...
Well, first off, we gotta talk about what happened before that.
So before that, we had
Rosemary was leaving after, I guess we didn't get to see the altercation with Rebby Sky.
So she got into it with Rebby Sky, and then she was leaving with King Maxwell. Vanguard 1 stopped them, or stopped Abyss and Crazy Steve, because Abyss came back out of the grave instead of Joseph Parks, and he just lights like a quick fire around them with the logo, and then he gets into a bit of a scuffle with Rosemary, and he starts yelling at her. What is he? I forget what he shoots at her. He does something to her, and then yells and says like, run Maxwell, run. And then she actually spits in the face of Vanguard 1 and puts him offline. Alright? He's not dead.
Yeah.
Hopefully...
He's just offline.
Jeff Hardy's not dead, because Jeff Hardy jumped in front of Matt Hardy being hit by Janice. So there's that.
And absorbed a massive nail shot to the gut.
So hopefully he's not dead. I swear people are gonna think we're like on drugs in this video, but it's like the legitness of what happened.
This happened. This is legit. Like what happened. Like we're not lying to you.
So Then we had not Crazy Steve, Rosemary fight Matt Hardy again and tries to spit in his face in the most epic scene of my entire life. I've waited 18 years to see a man absorb the spit of another woman and then spit it back in her face. And then she runs away. Like, that's crazy, right? In the end though, King Maxwell is safe. Ravi Sky's kind of beat up. Senor Benjamin gets kidnapped, it looks like, by Decay, which is crazy because I thought...
Yeah, Jeff Hardy looked like he was at least alive.
He was nearly dead. And that's how we end off. I like Deleter Decay's ending better than the Final Deletion's ending. Because the Final Deletion was just the pin.
Well, because there wasn't a cliffhanger on that. Like, you just figured, oh, it's just
the Final
over.
Deletion was the pin, and that was it. Here, it's like, alright, they stole Senor Benjamin. Like, what the heck? I think it's cool that, they attempted.
And they killed Vanguard 1.
Well, I don't know if he's necessarily killed off.
Well, at least...
Offlined him.
Well, they did something to him. They put him offline.
So, there's that. Impact was really solid tonight. Let's just go down our charts to see what we're going to give it. Cole Cabana, you there? How many Vanguard 1 offline rest in peace would you give it? Miguel Roderick, Miggy Mania, you there? How many Senor Benjamin with his delete stained, styled shovel?
By the way, happy birthday,
Yeah, happy birthday.
A
Senor
burial
Miggy.
of 10 out of...
Shane, you there? Shane,
Yeah,
you watched it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many Joseph Parks cameos would you give it?
10.
Mullins.
Yep.
How many Janice, hidden the side. They tried to pull a Walking Dead, by the way, if you watch Walking Dead, they tried to pull like the Negan thing where, Negan's gonna bash the head of someone with the baseball bat, and they were gonna bash someone in the head with Janice. Just think about that, alright? It's spiked, nailed board, yeah. How many Janice, Lucille love childs would you give it? 10. For me, I'm gonna give it a perfect 10 for the actual Deleter Decay. I would not have it any other way. If we're grading Impact, though, I would give Impact a solid 9.5. I think I would take off that half point because they shouldn't have unveiled the title this week, in my opinion. Other than that, everything was really solid. Perfect 10 all across the board. Like, you did a great job, TNA. I'm really proud of you. To come from a place where I literally did not like the product and where it was going.
Remember when I literally, when we started these things months back, I bashed it every time.
Well, it was like, for me, I watched it years back when it was great, and then it got really bad. And to see the direction of the company
that's where I was coming from all those times. It used to be really good. Like I watched it back when it first started getting good, but back when like Christian Cage was there.
And that was years ago. And I mean, they went through that transition period where things were really bad, and I think things are going really good right now. And I honestly,
feel like
shoot, real quick.
I feel like they've become their own sort of thing in the wrestling, like, industry.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, it's literally like something fresh. It's almost like it's like a higher quality lucha. Lucha's like its own thing. It's a higher quality lucha.
I'm gonna tell you this. After watching Raw, SmackDown, Lucha, the Cruiserweight Classic, and Impact Wrestling this week so far, Impact Wrestling wins. All right, SmackDown, Raw, very
easily,
lackluster in my opinion.
underwhelming.
Lucha, I love Lucha, but I'm gonna be sad. After the intro, I was kind of sad. Like, I just wasn't really much into it. I didn't like some of the directions that they're going with storylines. I didn't like the direction of the ending of Pentagon Dark versus Rey Mysterio, and I don't like what's going on with Prince Puma, but I mean, it's inevitable if that's what's happening. But in terms of TNA, I love the direction of it. Like I would not have it any other way. Like things are going really great for TNA, and they honestly are the highlight of my week so far in professional wrestling. And I think I can't remember if they were last week or the week before. Also, I have to check, but Impact's doing really good, and just keep it up. All right.